relevant to superstardom. No, not Raj Mathai, but Brock Purdy. 17 games. I know you like that transition.
Yeah.
17 games he's played now as the starting quarterback of your San Francisco 49ers. He's 13-4. He's second in QBR over that time. I know QBR, people roll their eyes.
Even QBR and quarterback wins do start to bug me now. Quarterback wins, like when we gave quarterbacks a record, like there's 31 and 17.
Well, the team's 13-4.
Yeah. Because the Jimmy Garoppolo stuff, kind of put that to bed, and Mina Kimes kind of put that to bed. But go ahead, continue.
No. I'm rattling off some of the data. He's first in yards per attempt, which has always been a good indicator of who's playing well. It's not the end-all, be-all. Sixth in completion percentage. We know that Shanahan doesn't want the ball to hit the ground. He wants you to be accurate. And so right near the 70% mark, Jimmy was always right around that 70% mark, right? He's sixth in all of the NFL during that time period. 31 touchdowns in 17 games, essentially. And that includes a couple playoff games where you're going to play better defenses, you assume. And remember, 3 of those were against the Seahawks, which is a divisional rival, all in a short period of time. 31 touchdowns will put him 5th over that time period amongst all of the other quarterbacks in the league, and a 3.9% interception rate, which would be 3rd overall in the NFL. Now, I'm giving you the data.
Third highest?
No, third lowest. Third lowest in the NFL. I'm giving you all the data. On this year, he's on pace for about 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and about 4,500 yards, which would all be Niner records since Jeff Garcia. He's been really good this year. And he had a bad stretch of fourth quarter performances. And for him to come out and kick butt and make the fourth quarter completely irrelevant where Sam Darnold could come in and play. Now the team did that, and he was a big part of that. And Baldy's talking about that throw that he made. I feel like Brock Purdy, through 1 year, has been a smashing success, and anything otherwise feels foolish to say out loud.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they're winning games. They got to the NFC Championship game. They're 6-3 right now. They started off 5-0, and he had a rough patch. There's no doubt he had a rough patch.
Yes.
And he needed that win. He needed to play well for his psyche and for everybody's psyche, because there's no doubt. You could think differently, and this is
he addressed the team, Bonte. Did you hear that?
No, I did hear that.
He went up and forever said, "Hey, my bad. I made a lot of mistakes in the fourth quarter. Not you and me, him."
No, yeah, exactly. He turned the ball over 5 times in 5 straight quarters. He played terrible. I know people say, well, he had a really good 3-game stretch despite the turnovers. You can't have a really good stretch when you turn the ball over. It's not possible. When you turn the ball over, that's not good. You lose games like that. But
look at Josh
overall, he's been really, really good. And so I got no complaints about Brock Purdy. But you better believe these next 8 games are huge for him. I still stand by what I said during the bye week. And what I said was, first of all, I didn't say that Sam Darnold was going to replace him. But these next 9 games, because here's I don't want to get something clear. When it comes to Brock Purdy, he has played very, very well. I didn't think there was in any case, that Shanahan was going to bench Brock Purdy, nor should Shanahan had benched Brock Purdy. I don't care if he threw 3 interceptions against Jacksonville. Yeah, you do yourself. You do yourself a service by playing him throughout this season and figure out who he is. I need to find out if this guy is going to be my franchise quarterback. I need to find out if I could go into next season with Brock Purdy as the starter. So by any means necessary, I did not want to see Sam Darnold. I did not want to see him whatsoever. Let Brock Purdy play. Now, he bounced back in Jacksonville, threw for 296 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 incompletions. There was like 1 no throw on a touchdown pass to Brendan Ayuk.
Yeah,
that was that.
It's a great no throw to have.
That was that. That was that. But for this team, it's Brock Purdy's offense. So I thought it was ridiculous to even think that Sam Darnold was going to take his job or Sam Darnold was going to push him. But the noise would have got louder, no doubt about that. But I thought these next 9 games, and he got one out the way with the big win in Jacksonville, I thought these next 9 for Brock Purdy was essential to show that Shanahan, the fan base, his teammates, I am the guy out here in San Francisco. So we can move on from that. Sam Darnold's not playing football this year for the 49ers, and thank God he's not.
Well, no, look, I'm optimistic on Purdy. He's looked amazing, right? But there is one thing that is going to be, not this week, but just moving forward, it's going to be a part of how we evaluate him. When they're at full strength, he looks amazing. But when they're missing a part here and there, you miss Trent, you miss Debo, those are 2 big parts. A lot of quarterbacks would struggle. A lot of them. I'm watching Josh Allen with an up and down running game. He's turning the ball over left and right. He's lost his offensive coordinator a couple years ago. He doesn't look the same, right? McDermott is probably going to be on the hot seat because the quarterback is turning the ball over left and right.
And his defense broke down.
And the talent is undeniable on Josh Allen. So I look at Brock Purdy right now, and he just needs to continue to play the game that he's playing. And my most important aspect to watching Brock Purdy, and it seems the things I'm most impressed with, is his pocket presence and his ability to evade the rush. He's only at 16 sacks this year. I don't think highly of this offensive line as a whole, as a huge unit. Love Trent. He's an all-timer. The rest has been hit and miss. I think Purdy's made a great job of feeling the pressure, evading the rush, making plays where there are none. He's been spectacular.
So I don't necessarily want to push back at it, but when I hear this, I do cringe a little bit.
What?
Because I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to Brock. I think it's unfair to Jimmy. I think it's unfair to any quarterback out there missing a weapon when we say, he needs all those guys out there to perform at an optimal level, to perform at a high level. Now, quarterbacks are dealt blows here. Mahomes has been dealt blows here. Joe Burrow had to win games without T. Higgins this year. Now, he did do it on Sunday without T. Higgins, but he had to win games without T. Higgins. Dak Prescott at times has to win games without his top flight performers. Quarterbacks should be able to prevail if they have at least two weapons. Like, you're telling me that despite missing Deebo Samuel, it's not good enough to win football games with Ayuk and George Kittle. Both those guys are legit players. So if a guy does go down, like importance obviously is Trent Williams. You lose Trent Williams on the offensive line, the season's cooked.
I mean, right? He's an all-time offensive.
He's an all-time. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But, Jimmy, a lot of his games didn't have all of his weapons.
Kittle missed a lot of time.
He didn't have a lot of weapons.
Deebo missed time.
And we just never warranted that excuse for Jimmy for whatever reason. We said, Jimmy couldn't get it done. So you may not have everybody for all 17 games. And so that's where, when you want to take that next step. When you want to take that next step. And Brock's really good right now. I don't think there's 12 quarterbacks better than Brock right now.
I think everyone agrees.
But when you want to take that next step, can you steal a game without one of these performers?
Well, and I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. But as you start to look around at how money is allocated to the quarterback position, okay, I do take some pause because I'm sitting here, I'm going, all right, when he's making $1 million and you can afford Deebo and you can afford Ayuk and you can afford Kittle and Trent Williams, him making $1 million makes a lot of sense.
It does.
But when that quarterback starts to make $20 million, $35 million, and you take away CMC and Kittle, because that's what $35 million would get you right now, CMC and Kittle, it looks a lot different. And now I'm asking my quarterback to do more. Mm-hmm. This is the question that's being asked by Dallas fans. Hey, Dak's good. Is he $40 million good?
Yeah.
No, we're not there yet. We're way ahead of ourselves. Like, that's a conversation for down the line. And I think that's why when the Texans fans look at C.J. Stroud, they're optimistic. You know why? Because they're saying, who the hell knew who Nico Collins was?
Tank Dell.
I mean, come on.
Tank Dell.
I mean, they don't even have a running game.
Noah Brown. You just heard of Noah Brown 3 weeks ago, and he's making plays. So now
maybe these guys are household names 2 years from now, and they're the Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But as of right now, I'm just saying, like, that's the conversation that Texas and they're now through the roof in terms of optimism.
I don't even know if I'm going to say it anyway, and I already know how it's going to come off.
What's that?
And I'm not even trying to be passive aggressive. I'm not hating at all. But the great quarterbacks elevate their offense. Can we all agree that during the 3-game losing streak, Brock failed to elevate this offense without some playmakers? Oh, that's the elite of the elite.
I think when it was fourth quarter time, they fell up short. Yes, they fell short.
They fell short.
As a team, and you know him in particular, yes.
And you know what? That's not a knock on Brock because this is the first time he's going through it.
No, he's
a
young player growing.
I'll warn him saying, you know what? He's still going to go through growing pains, excuse me. But during the 3-game losing streak, I found out, okay, you need Deebo Samuel. You need Trent Williams.
Right now.
You need Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. You need, now, 2 years from now, Brock may be able to elevate an offense without these weapons. That's the next step for him. But thankfully on this team,
I think you're 100%.
On this team, you got Deebo, Ayuk, Kittle, and you got C-Mac humming, good. Brock just runs the offense. He's a conductor. He's getting the passes through. He's making plays down the field. I had no problem with it. But for now, he's not there yet in terms of elevating our offense without all of his weapons. And I think that's fair to say. I'm not even hating on him. It is what it is.
Well,
but thankfully, we don't ask him to do that.
No doubt. I think that's if we're having a reasonable conversation about quarterback play, I think everything you're saying is totally spot on. And like, look, everyone's going to point to Brady. Look at Brady at 25 and look at Brady at 35. Look how much better he is. And he was a completely different player, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Like part of what has elevated Patrick Mahomes in the legacy and the story building, winning a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
And he did that. He did. He
made Juju Smith-Schuster look like a very good player.
That's the difference.
What is Mac Jones making Juju Smith-Schuster look like?
He's on a milk carton. So that's what it is. So
I think you're right.
And Joe Burrow, look, he's won games without T. Higgins. He just lost a game without T. Higgins. But it shows that, boy, the margin for error when you don't have all your top flight players. Now, he's able to do it for a couple games.
Yes.
But against a team like the Texans, it's like, oh, boy, we don't have T. Higgins. Now they're suffocating Jamar Chase.
Wouldn't you say that same thing for the most part about Kirk Cousins' career? And like everyone would say, like, even the biggest hater on Kirk Cousins would be like, he's a very good player. You can win a lot of games with Kirk Cousins. But, boy, you better have a lot around him, to elevate him. And he's at the end of his career.
But you know what, though?
So I'm looking at where Brock is right now. I think Brock can do a little more than guys like that with a little less. And as time goes on and he continues to develop and he builds on what he's built through, I mean, his comprehension of the offense is only going to grow. His ability to make plays with lesser than is only going to grow. His ability to master the offense and get guys in position will only grow. It's not going to go backwards, in my estimation. I feel like arrow up on Brock.
Yeah, no doubt. Kirk Cousins did beat the Niners without Justin Jefferson.
That's you know what? That's a good counterpoint.
He did beat us. He shredded the Niners defense there. But Brock is progressing very, very well. I don't have any complaints about him. I like the way he bounced back. But also, it was just a reminder to Niner fans, look, man, Deebo Samuel's been one of the best draft picks at the wide receiver position in this franchise's history, along with outside of Jerry Rice, which happened in 1985, and outside of Terrell Owens, who was drafted in the 3rd round, all right, out of Tennessee Chattanooga, the Niners have not done well drafting wide receivers.
No.
It warms my heart to know that they took a chance on Deebo Samuel in the 2nd round, and they took a chance on Brandon Ayuk in the 1st round. And again, as a duo, there's not many better duos than these guys. And they're going to have the numbers on the stat sheet because of the way the Niners play offense with running the football and, in the way they don't pass the ball down the field. But as a duo, something we discussed in training camp, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel have been everything for the 49ers in terms of where they drafted them and what they've done in the 49er uniform. Deebo's impact on this football team, he only had 59 total yards Sunday. But boy, what he does to open up this offense, to take some of the pressure off of Christian McCaffrey, take pressure off of George Kittle or Brandon Ayuk, these two guys have to deliver for the 49ers, and that helps out Brock, man. Yeah. Helps out Brock a lot. So give Brock credit. He's playing well. But can he elevate this team to the next level without one of them? Hopefully we never see that because I want all these guys playing in every single game.
I was comparing and contrasting Michael Crabtree's overall numbers to Deebo Samuel's last night, and I'm looking at him, and Crabtree played in, I would say, he was the number 1 wide receiver offense than what Deebo's played in, because Deebo is not the number 1 priority, at least in terms of throwing the ball. You can make an argument it's Kittle. You can make an argument it's Brandon Ayuk. You can make an argument it's CMC before you even get to Deebo. Deebo's already had a more impactful NFL career with the Niners in his 5 seasons, parts of 5 seasons, than the 6 full seasons of Michael Crabtree.
Yeah. And J.J. Stokes, who the Niners traded up for out of UCLA. And I like JJ as a guy. I hate saying that, but there's no doubt.
And Crabtree was good for the Niners. I don't think he was bad. I'm just saying, Deebo's been a better ball player for them. And I think he sets the tone more than he has. He's had singular seasons, more impactful. He's been more dominant in the playoffs. Deebo's been awesome. And you're right, B. I slept on the importance of Deebo Samuel.
Let's go to, all right, we got time. Let's go to Brian and Palo Alto. He wants to challenge a Brock Purdy take. Go ahead, BPA. The floor is yours.
I think, hey guys, how you doing? There's no quarterback in the history of the game is as good without their weapons as they are with their weapons, right? So you take Jerry Rice and John Taylor out of the 49er offense, Joe Montana's not that great, right? It's just a fact. And so if there's 3 active quarterbacks in the NFL that have won a Super Bowl, and we don't know exactly where it lands with Brock, but he's pretty darn good. We'll see how it plays out. But, there aren't 5 quarterbacks I'd rather have over him. look at these guys. Look at Josh Allen. Guy's a turnover machine. You look at some of these guys, and ultimately what you do on the field matters. Like, it doesn't, like Josh Allen threw 80 yards across his body in a pre-draft drill or whatever. It matters what you do on the field, and like what Brock's doing on the field is top 5 in this league. We'll see how it lands. It's hard to win Super Bowls.
Of course it is.
Three active quarterbacks.
Brian, BPA. Does it sound like we're slandering Brock Purdy at all?
Yeah, that's what people do. They chip at the margins, and again, we'll see. I don't know yet. How is he going to respond in a Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. Right? So far, he's been pretty good in the playoffs. We don't know. So,
can I ask a question here? Honestly, Brian, and I think Brock's excellent for what the Niners want to do. Do you really think John Lynch picks up the phone, calls Buffalo, and says, "I'll trade you Brock Purdy for Josh Allen," and both teams are like Buffalo's like, "Yep, we'll do that." 32 GMs in the league are taking Josh Allen over Brock Purdy, and I love Brock Purdy, but come on.
Can we move on from that though? Right?
I know, but you just said that, and that's
why it up, not us.
I know you brought that up, and so I'm just countering. I mean, we can love Brock Purdy, but we can also be realistic.
You know what? I would say a little bit more of what we've seen for a year with Josh Allen. A little bit more. He's led the NFL in turnovers for a year.
They've won double-digit games 3 consecutive years.
Yeah, and how are they doing right now?
Obviously this year's not a great year.
They're in the
by the way, by the way, he's not playing well, but are they blaming Josh? No.
They should.
They are blaming Josh.
Yeah, he had 4 turnovers last night.
They are blaming
Josh.
In
this case, every single thing, Brock throws, 25 for 30 for 300, and we're talking, all we're doing is finding, things
really
we
not.
can pick on in the margins.
But we're really not. All I said was BPA was he's failed to elevate the offense. We saw that in the 3 games without Debo and Trent. And Brock said it. With Debo Samuel in the huddle, I was able to have a sigh of relief and feel good because I had my safety valve back. I had my safety blanket back. That's why I don't like talking about Brock Purdy.
But why?